Bergen Community College presents Bergen Bulldog Radio on FiOS Channel 26. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Bergen Community College.
Welcome to Bergen Bulldog Radio for the week of April 24th, 2025. I am your host, Rudy Galindo. Bergen Bulldog Radio is a weekly news magazine program produced by the radio production class on the Paramus campus of Bergen Community College. Each week, our programs will bring insight to activities and organizations here on the campus of New Jersey's largest community college. The program will provide in-depth looks at topics that are of interest to Bergen County residents, as well as members of the campus community. On this week's one-hour program, there will be two installments of our Bergen Bulldog Focus. These segments will feature a discussion with the editor of the BCC student newspaper, The Torch, as well as an interview with the director of college athletics. In the Did You Know feature, we will go in depth about stress in the Gen Z generation. We are glad you joined us today. Now let's get caught up with the latest news around Bergen Community College.
This is Elliot Restrepo here with Bergen Bulldog News. Northrop Grumman's rocket test site causes a booming amount of damage to nearby building. No injuries or fatalities, according to the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. It was not made clear as to which building was destroyed or better yet why. Grumman did not release a statement immediately. Have you heard about the draft budget plans? The document is suggesting to allegedly cut the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services spending to a third of their current amount. Though it's the preliminary, the draft gives an indication of the Trump administration's priorities, says APnews.com. For the second time in less than a year, Google has been labeled as an abusive monopolist via federal judge. They are accused of illegally exploiting online market technology for profit boosts around $1.8 trillion. According to APnews.com, Google tries to overturn the two monopoly decisions in appeals while forging ahead in the new and highly lucrative technological frontier of artificial intelligence. Discord is an online messaging platform for gamers and people of communities to get together and share their interests. However, New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin says otherwise. Platkin accused Discord of being misleading for parents and exposing their kids to violent and sexual content. Further actions are to be handled in court at a later date. For similar concerns, Roblox is also under fire for child safety concerns. Florida attorney James Uthmeyer demands Roblox hands over their internal records for investigation of their platform and how it protects the youth who are active on it as we speak. As of late, both social platforms have been labeled as unsafe for the youth in fear of online creeps. In lighter news, NBA playoffs begin once again. Who will be champion this year? This Saturday, the first game starts with Cavaliers versus Heat for their Game 3 round at 1 p.m. Be on the lookout for the Knicks and the Pistons on Sunday at 1 for their Game 4. Tonight, Thursday, April 24th, the NFL draft picks will begin at 8 p.m. EST. The Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, and New York Giants will have the first 3 picks of the entire draft. Rules and regulations have been announced for the 98th annual Oscars. They are set to be held on March 15th of 2026. New rules include that voters must watch all nominated movies in category order to be able to vote in the final round. How voters are to prove this is currently unknown as of right now. It might be rainy this weekend. Saturday is going to be a high of 72, a low of 50, with a 57% chance of rain. Sunday looks to have a high of 68 and low of 48, with only 24% chance of rain. For Bergen Bulldog News, I am Elliot Restrepo, and thank you for joining us on this segment of Bergen Bulldog Radio.
Did you know 1 in 3 young people have experienced cyberbullying, and 70% of students say they've seen it happen online? Words can hurt. Behind every screen is a real person facing real emotions. Cyberbullying doesn't just stop after you hit send. It lingers, it scars. Don't stand by in silence. Speak up. Cyberbullying can lead to anxiety, depression, and even thoughts of self-harm. It's not just words on a screen. It's real pain. Together we can create a safer online world. Your words matter. Use them to lift, not to tear down. Reach out and make the online world safer for everyone. Check out cyberbullying.org for more information now.
Celebrate our planet at the Essex County Environmental Center. Join us Sunday, April 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a day of eco-friendly fun, hands-on activities, live demonstrations, and more. Bring the whole family and discover how we can protect and preserve our environment together. Mark your calendars and visit EssexCountyParks.org for details. Let's make every day Earth Day.
You're watching Bergen Bulldog Radio from Bergen Community College here on FiOS 26. And now it's time for Bergen Bulldog Focus.
Welcome to the latest edition of Bergen Bulldog Focus. I'm Kenneth Eric. I'm here with the Athletic Director of Bergen Community College, Erin Van Nostrand.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty details of all the sports teams we provide here, can you just introduce yourself a bit to everyone watching? What led to your journey becoming the Athletic Director? What inspired you to pursue a career like this?
Right. So I have been involved in college athletics since I first graduated college. So I played softball and basketball at college at Keene State College in New Hampshire. Graduated college, and in my yearbook it said I wanted to be my college kinesiology professor. So I wanted to have a doctorate in kinesiology, and I wanted to coach softball. So I have a master's in kines, no doctorate degree. But I was a college softball coach for over a decade, and then I was living out in the Pacific Northwest. I was living out in Washington, the state, and my dad got sick. So I came home. I actually won a national championship as a coach when I was out there. So after you do that, it's kind of like, what do you do now?
Yeah.
So I came home, and one of my really good friends was a senior woman administrator, associate director of athletics at Salve Virginia College in Rhode Island. So I was like, all right, let me go see what this is all about. I kind of fell in love with it. So then there was a job at Lehman College in the Bronx that I applied for, and I was the associate director of athletics there for 4 years. And then the College of Staten Island called me and said, hey, we're moving to Division II. Do you want to be our compliance officer and help do all of the rules education and all that craziness? And I did that for 6 years. And then I just kind of wanted to get at the NCAA. It's really out of control right now.
Yeah.
With name, image, likeness, playing student athletes, the transfer portal. It's not the college athletics that I have always known. So then Bergen Community College job opened up, and I was like, all right, this might be like the best place where it's a student athlete experience, right? You're here, and I have so much knowledge at this point to give that not only am I helping run the athletics program, but we have students who want to transfer, and I know all of the transfer rules inside and out. So can help them be sure that they're ready if they're going to go on to the next level, or have a great experience if they're only going to play for 2 more years and then they're going back out in the workforce. So it's just kind of a part of my life at this point. My brother is the head lacrosse coach at University of Southern California. Oh. My dad played AAA baseball for the Yankees. So like sports is just, it's what my family does. It's kind of, I don't know I don't know what else I would do without it, honestly.
I mean, if you want your athletic director to have something, it's that they're good at sports.
Hopefully, yeah.
What makes Bergen Athletic, like our programs here we run for the sports teams, what makes that uniquely us compared to other colleges, or community colleges, I should say?
Yeah, I think what makes Bergen uniquely Bergen is our students. We come from such an eclectic background, some of our students. And so it's really fun to watch these people coming from the biggest county in New Jersey. I'm from New York, Long Island, so I'm learning still. So I didn't realize how big Bergen County was. But we are the biggest county. We have the most high schools. So our students are coming from everywhere. So it's not like you're seeing the same 5 kids you saw in high school and they're on your team. And these kids, some of them don't even know each other. They're from all over the county. And I think it makes us unique because it's cool to be alongside somebody that you probably never thought you would be hanging out with in your entire life on the field, and who becomes a lifelong friend.
That's great. As we know, student athletes, a lot of challenges. You got to keep up with your studies. There's a lot of rules. It's a very stressful situation to be in, but a very fun situation. How does the school, and like you guys, how do you help them alleviate from some of that pressure?
And so I think the best part about being a student athlete is you learn time management.
Yeah.
And you have to, because you cannot be successful without it, right? You have your own job. You have to sometimes take care of siblings. You got your school. You got all these other demands going at you. And so we have to help them understand how to do time management. So that's what the coaches, that's what the athletic staff does, is we actually do workshops. We sit down with them. We give them calendars. We have a brand new athletic space where they can come in and there's a place where they can study. There's a place where they can kind of just decompress and relax. There's 5 full-time employees sitting in the athletics room at any given time who are there to help them. So, we do progress reports, so we know if you're not doing well.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time some of them have been on their own, right? You know, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing fine, I'm doing great, and then your grades come out and you're like, oh, maybe I'm not doing great. So we send out progress reports, and then we help them get to, where do you need to be? Do you need to be at math tutoring? Do you need to be at writing tutoring? Do you need to be with a career coach? Where do you need to be to help you be successful? So are there a lot of demands? Unquestionably. But there's a lot of resources because you also have 10, 15, 20 people on your team who can also potentially be a study partner, a resource.
So Bergen's not just, our athletic department isn't just sports. We're also here, you guys are here to help succeed them.
Of course.
Past.
Yeah.
That's great. I see so many students where they're like, oh, I didn't learn anything while I was in college playing sports. I just played sports.
Yeah, no, that's what I love about athletics, because everybody looks at athletics and they think what they see on ESPN, right? And those people are not those big-time Division I basketball and football programs. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
We're a totally different place. So yeah, we have to teach you the life lessons, and that's where it's my job to make sure that you understand that you are learning things, that we are going to teach you, like, how do you apply what you just did on the softball field to how that works in real life?
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about that, then yeah, you might walk away and go like, oh, I didn't learn anything. I just, just dribbled a basketball. But all of our coaches are very invested in the staff about use all of these tools you're getting and help you get a job, help you with being a better brother, sister, mother, father, uncle, daughter, but whatever it is.
Yeah. What's the process like for students who want to join like the sports teams? What would you?
The easiest way to do it is there's a QR code. I think it's all over the school. If you click the QR code, you can click your sport, fill out the QR code. It goes to myself and the individual school's sports coach. Or you can go onto our website. It's bergenccbulldogs.com. There's a recruit me button. You click that, same way. Fill it out. Coach gets the email. I get the email. Coach will reach right back out to you. That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay, it's actually really convenient.
Super easy. We try to make it easy for you.
What do you enjoy most about being the athletic director here?
They pay me to watch sports. It's a really good gig. They pay me to go out and watch young student athletes who do something they love. I mean, I love sports. What's better than that?
Yeah. When you want to describe like a typical day you would go through?
Oh boy, any day is different. So usually in the morning, I'm responsible for inputting all of our stats from the games from the night before, updating the website, make sure the website's updated. Then there could be meetings of any given variety, whether it's within the region, within the NJCAA itself. I'm on a bunch of different sports committees. And then I walk into my office, and then you never know what you're going to get, right? So my door is always open. So just 20 minutes ago, I had a student athlete. We were going over how does she look at her financial aid, how many credits is the school she's transferring to going to give her. She's one of our best student athletes, and trying to figure out what's the best fit for her next year.
Do you have any favorite sports moments here? I know you've been here for 2 years, but
favorite sports moments. Well, men's basketball, we only won 3 games this year, but we beat the number 1 team in the region, the number 7 team in the country in our last home men's basketball game. So that was really, really exciting. I think watching our women's sports come back has been really exciting. When I first got here, we didn't really have softball. We barely had basketball. We didn't have women's soccer. We didn't have any track or cross country. And so to see them elevate has been really exciting. To see men's soccer be so successful, to see the progress that our baseball team has made under a new baseball coach has been phenomenal. So there's just too many things to say. The new athletics facilities have been great. I mean, we look like a college athletics program. So I couldn't pick just one.
If you could, you want to touch more on the new facilities you guys have got?
Yeah. So, we have our new athletic space. So now we're in the old testing center. So we have the conference room. We each have our own individual office. We're in our own little place there. And then last spring, they updated the soccer field, so new bleachers. And then they updated the baseball softball field. So we have dugouts. We have new fencing. We didn't have any dugouts out at the softball field, and we had like Little League dugouts out at the baseball field. But now there's a full stands surrounding it, so you walk out there, and it's probably the nicest outdoor facility in the entire region.
I've walked around it a couple times.
It's nice, right?
Yeah, it looks really good. Can you talk about how the school spirit, how that helps student athletes really get into it?
Well, I always say that athletics is the front porch of a university. And I say that because we have great academics here. I knew that from when I was at the College of Staten Island. But nobody's going to rally around the really amazing chemistry professor. But they're going to rally around the undefeated women's volleyball team. So there's a sense of people are going to be prideful of, we have a new Bulldog, right? He's right here. So, and that helps. When students come out to the games, when we have a big stands in the gym, it helps. It helps people feel like, oh, wow, they care about all these time and all these hours we put in. And then there's pride in like, oh, wow, our basketball team just beat the number 22 team in the country. There's pride in that. We need to continue to have those moments and continue to have people like you sit and talk to us and know what's going on and get our name out there. But I think it's fun when, like, right, you might go back and be like, whoa, did you know that our men's basketball team beat the number 7 team in the country? That's crazy.
I mean, I'll keep talking with you guys to see how well you guys are doing.
Come on down. I need somebody to announce my baseball and softball games.
I'd love to.
Come on down.
What would you say is the biggest challenge you have in managing so many athletic teams? I imagine it's a lot of emails that are written in a day.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest part is just to make sure that I'm giving everybody equal attention, so that every team and every coach and every student athlete feels valued and feels important. And that's hard because sometimes you spend a lot of your time in places that maybe need a little more help and not as much time with the places that are doing really, really good. Yeah. And so it's my job to make sure that everybody feels like they're all important, they're all supported, and I will do whatever I can to help them be really great at what they do. And that's the hard part, right? Because sometimes it's really easy to focus on the stuff that's not going great. So that's the challenge.
Do you have any long-term goals for the athletic department here?
Yeah, I'd like to add some more sports.
Okay.
I'd like to add men's volleyball. I'd love to add women's flag football. Those would be 2 things I'd like to add right away. And then I want to be the best athletics program in Region 19. That means the best run, the best represented, obviously being competitive, the best academically. I want people to say Bergen Athletics and people go, oh, wow, they do it. They do it well. They do it the right way.
I think you're on a good track.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're on a really good track.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Just a couple more things.
Of course.
Do you have any advice for students who might be interested in a career such as yours?
Come talk to me. We always have jobs. So, like I was just saying to you, we have a line where we can pay students to come help and work. Now, that could be anything from shagging soccer balls to I can teach you how to do our live stats, to announcing the games, to doing the video overlay. There's so many opportunities to get a job. So walk down to the testing center, the old testing center, S121, walk in, and we'll get you set. We'll get you going. The more the merrier. We need more.
This has been very great talk. Thank you so much for coming down here.
My pleasure. It was great. Anytime.
This is Bergen Bulldog, and I'm Kenneth Eric. I'm here with the athletic director, Aaron Van Noorstad. Great talk. And my engineer, Victoria Nuna.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Bergen Bulldog Radio.
Welcome back to Bergen Bulldog Radio on FiOS Channel 26. I hope you are enjoying the show. Next here on the program is our Did You Know feature.
Welcome to this week's edition of Did You Know for Bergen Bulldog Radio. We're your hosts, Alyssa
And Mia.
Today we will be talking about Stress Awareness Month and the effects of stress on Gen Z with a psychology professor here at Bergen and therapist Professor Lodano. What do you believe are the main sources of stress for Gen Z compared to previous generations?
I think that the weight of the world is something that is definitely on Gen Z's mind. And this is anything from climate change, social justice issues, and also mass school shootings, something that is affecting so much of this generation, especially things that we didn't necessarily have to worry about in previous generations or at the scale and the magnitude that we have to now. Right now, the American Psychological Association states that 83% of Gen Z adults said the future of the nation is a significant source of stress. So it is affecting folks younger and younger, and really all the generations as well.
How does social media and constant connectivity affect stress levels among Gen Z?
Oof. So I think that there's a big layer of FOMO, the fear of missing out, that is a component that affects the stress levels, where we want to be everywhere and do everything at once, but we can't do that, right? We have not invented time travel yet. So that is a big one, where there are so many things that we may want to do, and we might try to do so much and then we fumble, and recognizing that there's always something at our expense, right? Whether that is sleep, friendships, relationships, eating, food, just your overall wellness. I would say that there's definitely that higher anxiety based on FOMO.
What role does academic pressure play in the mental health of Gen Z, and how has it evolved over the years?
Sure. So I think that the academic stress and the academic pressures that all of you are facing stems from a lot of different things going on in the world. We don't know what type of job market you will graduate with, right? We don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of uncertainty within higher education, outside of higher education. So not just combining that with the pressure of, I still want to do well, but recognizing, right, that there are a lot of hurdles that you are also navigating while you are a student, right? Whether that's personally, financially, culturally. So there are a lot of other layers that also impact that academic pressure.
Gen Z is often described as more aware of mental health issues. Do you think this awareness is helping or adding to their stress?
It is a double-edged sword, and I'll share why. I think that the awareness component is awesome. We have children, actually younger and younger, learning about mental health and understanding what therapy is. So there is that layer of breaking the stigma, which is awesome. However, there is also a lot of misinformation that is out there that I think Gen Z is having a hard time defining and understanding what's accurate and what is inaccurate. And we can go down the rabbit hole of TikTok, but we won't. But right, really understanding what is fact and what we can know for sure versus what we're seeing because of an influencer, and having a good idea of when to ask a professional, a professor, and have the real knowledge behind it versus just believing anything we might see on social media outlets.
What are some of the most common signs of stress or burnout you frequently see in Gen Z?
A few different ones. So whether it's emotional exhaustion, irritability, detachment, chronic fatigue, sleep issues, and academic disengagement. And really, it is a level of burnout that we haven't seen before, because there are so many factors at play, right? In terms of access, understanding, right? We are in a world where there's a lot of uncertainty in our future. So it really all coexists, where we're seeing now students being impacted. And do I show up? Is this worth it? Is it going to be worth it? What is at risk? And sometimes seeing what the benefits are really hard, right? To sit there and understand that there is still value in getting your education and pushing through and showing up and being your best and getting the work done.
What impact do economic factors have on the mental health of Gen Z?
Yeah, so definitely touching on, right, there's an uncertain job market, but even further, the economic instability currently and student loan debt, right? This is no secret. It is hard to think of, when am I going to pay these student loans? Or, right, even thinking of after Bergen, right? It's a big factor of what's the next institution going to look like. Is it about what I want to do, or is it about how much I can afford? And I think that this generation is facing that question at right the nth degree, because it's so much to consider of the student debt, but I will say that I think that your generation is also very well informed about what it means to have these student loans and to take on that financial risk, and also recognizing it's also maybe not just about you, right? It's about your family and the burden, the financial burden on your family, and also having those conversations, but realizing, right, like it's all at a cost, and we won't know the return on the investment, right? The ROI, we won't know that for a little while. So it's weighing heavy, definitely, on the mental health of Gen Z.
In your opinion, how effective are schools in addressing mental health concerns in students?
So it's actually really interesting. I just came from a panel hosted here on campus in C211 with 5 mental health professionals. Like, how awesome that Bergen is driving those conversations and putting them at the forefront, right? Not just as an afterthought or as an aftermeasure, because I think that schools definitely have more work to do. I think that once we are now at the college level, what we see happening, and I'm bringing in the professional lens as a therapist and as an adjunct professor, I think by the time that we're at college, we've missed the mark, right? We should be addressing mental health and emotional awareness and emotional regulation, right, in first, second, third graders, right? Imagine if we developed those skills then, and then went on to middle school, and then went on to high school, and then we got the extra support here at college, right? Like, it would move mountains if we would start earlier with children. I think some school districts are recognizing that the research is there to support it. I understand too, right? Like, there's the financial ability of districts affording it as well. But it is something that is awesome to see, right? That we should be starting sooner and earlier to support that student that will be a college student one day and a human one day that is a part of, the functioning society. So the younger, the better.
How does the pressure of career expectations contribute to stress for students? So
not only is there this fear of missing out, I think that Gen Z is also experiencing we need to have it all figured out yesterday. And right, like, that's a whole lot of pressure on you. I need to know what I'm going to do after Bergen. I need to have a job secure after Bergen. I need to go do X, Y, and Z. Even now, I think that is a whole level of anxiety and pressure that then contributes to all of the other areas of your life. But especially, right, then we get into the comparisons of, oh, I see my classmate doing this. Should I be doing that? Like, do you even like it? Like, that's my first question. Like, do you want to pursue that? It might sound great, and that might be great for your friend, for your classmate. But let's pause for a moment and see, does that make sense for you? Is that opportunity something that you want to do, right? Because this is your time, your money, your energy, and your mental health on the line.
What do you believe are the most common misconceptions people have about stress and its impact on mental health?
So this is going to be a hot one. Because there's a misconception that stress is always bad. And stress, another way to think about stress is that little bit of adrenaline that sometimes we need when our fight or flight kicks in. Fight, flight, and freeze, actually. So knowing that sometimes a little bit of that adrenaline, sometimes a little bit of stress can actually be helpful for, I want to get this done, right? It can actually be empowering. It could actually serve purpose rather than it being something that always has to be bad. However, also being mindful that when stress is bad, it can quickly take over your life. And you will probably see that in all areas, not just for you as a student, but you as a community member, you as a child, a parent, a sibling. So being mindful that stress, it can support you, but also recognizing that there are signs and symptoms of how stress can definitely negatively impact all areas of your life.
We would like to thank our guest, Professor Lindana, for being with us today. Our engineer for today's program is Rudy. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this week's program.
I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Mia. This has been Bergen Bulldog, Did You Know?
Is the produce at your grocery store underwhelming? Mass-produced desserts not to your fancy? Or maybe you just want some good old-fashioned farm goods? Well, have I got the place for you. This May through November, visit the corner of Garrison Avenue and Beverly Road for the Teaneck Farmers Market. Every Thursday, you can find a unique selection of products from fresh produce, Amish baked goods, and the best empanadas in Bergen County. Visit our pages on Facebook or Instagram for more information.
This is Bergen Bulldog Radio on FiOS Channel 26, coming to you from Paramus, New Jersey campus of Bergen Community College. I'm your host, Rudy Galindo, and on behalf of my colleagues in radio production class here in West Hall, welcome and thank you for joining us. Still to come in the next half hour of the program, the Bulldog Buzz and Bites Show, a real riff on the world of entertainment. But right now, it's time for another edition of Bergen Bulldog Focus.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bergen Bulldog Focus. We are your hosts, Brianna Martinez and
Megan Alvarez, and today we will be speaking with Professor Bricklewitz, the advisor of the Torch.
Welcome to the program. Can you tell us about your background and how you became the advisor for the Torch?
Well, I'm a little bit of an oversharer. I'm going to try not to go too far into my background. Well, I was a Bergen student. When I graduated high school, I came here, and I came here for a year. I dropped out. I came back. When I came back, I joined the Torch, and it sort of turned my life around. And so many years later, when I started teaching here as an adjunct, I thought like right away, like, oh, I should be the Torch advisor. You know, I was the editor-in-chief of the Torch as a student. And obviously, like, you know, adjuncts usually are not advisors. So it took 20 years. So after teaching here for 20 years, the opportunity came up that the Torch needed a new advisor, and somebody had suggested me, and I went to the dean and just said, I am very interested. So that was May of 2023.
It sounds like it was meant to happen.
Okay. What does your role as an advisor typically involve on a day-to-day basis?
So there's a lot of different things, I would say. First of all, the Torch meets multiple times a week. We have one in-person meeting, one virtual meeting, and one e-board meeting that is also virtual. So there's 3 meetings a week, regular communication with the editor-in-chief, reviewing articles before they're published. So it's, you know, the amount of work involved in being the advisor is also dependent on where we are in our publishing process. So if it's a week, you know, where articles are due, you know, there's a deadline, and then we go through all these rounds of editing, then it's, you know, a lot more time that week. But basically just kind of being, I would say, sort of connection between the students on the Torch and the administration and faculty and staff of the college. So as an advisor, I try really not to ever like veto content or anything like that. I try to let the students, you know, I look at it as my job is to help them realize their vision and their goals. So I give advice, right? I'm an advisor. I let them know, you know, what they might not be thinking about sometimes, you know what I mean? Like why something might or might not be a good idea, and what some of the feedback is likely to be from different, you know, corners of the college. But really my job is to support them and help them, you know, bring whatever it is that is their vision into reality.
How has your experience in journalism or media shaped how you guide student journalism?
So I don't actually have a lot of journalism experience. I was a journalism major in college, my undergrad, and you know, had been the editor of the Torch and the editor of my student magazine at Rowan. And then, you know, I did some freelance writing for various publications and stuff, some sports stuff, and but I never worked as a full-time journalist. And it's actually how I started teaching at Bergen was, you know, I was looking for a job, and I just started working in the tutoring center. And one day they gave me a class, and I started teaching, and, you know, it was 21 years ago, so I've been here ever since. But I think, you know, having the education background in journalism at least, and having done a little work, I'm conscious of the fact that, you know, having that like experience as a reporter, investigative reporter, is not my strong suit. I don't have that experience. So I do try to run things by a lot of friends that I have that are journalists. And, you know, I brought a friend who's a professional journalist to campus last semester to address the Torch students and the students in my journalism class. So I try to like lean on a lot of people who I know will have answers that I may not have, if that makes sense. But again, just from, you know, what I learned as a student, from what I, you know, have learned through the last 20 years of teaching and stuff, I really just try to see things from every angle, put myself into the shoes of every interested party, so to speak, and then try to convey that to the students, get them to try to do that, to look at it like, all right, so we're doing this. How is this person or this party likely to receive that? Which doesn't necessarily have to change how we do things, but we should be conscious of it.
Can you share a moment when the torch has made a significant impact on campus?
I would hope that maybe that is right now. I think, obviously, tragically, we had a professor pass away a few weeks ago or a month ago, and I think when something like that happens, and it's unfortunately not the first time it's happened since I've been the advisor of the torch, but I think that is a time that people maybe look to us. You know what I mean? When the campus is grieving, I think that maybe people look to the torch to see how we're going to cover it, to make sure that we're going to cover it, and I hope and I think that we've done a good job. The students have done a really good job with the articles on the front page of our new issue, remembering Professor Saltzman. So I think that can be a time that we're, maybe helping people grieve just like a little bit.
Perfect. So, what would you say was most rewarding about your whole history with the torch?
For me, the rewarding thing is always just kind of getting to watch these kids work, right? I shouldn't call them kids, but you know what I mean? We have some just crazy talented people, and it's so different from, when I was a student on the torch and you're putting it together, you have a sense of accomplishment of, creating this thing, right? And now I'm really almost uninvolved in the creation of it, right? Like, I review articles and stuff, right? And they bounce ideas off me, but it's the students who are writing, who are editing, who are taking pictures, who are, laying out the design of it and all that. But I still feel this sense of pride every time we put an issue out, and because I'm so proud of them. So it's rewarding every time an issue comes out, to see the students feel good about it. Every time we have somebody who is seeing their name in print for the first time, getting published for the first time, that's really cool to see, and they get excited about that. Probably the biggest thing was that when I took over as advisor, we hadn't printed an issue. The torch hadn't printed an issue in 4 years, since before the pandemic, so it was exclusively online. It was like basically dead. And there was a website, and it was updated fairly sporadically. There was an editor-in-chief who was graduating, but no other e-board. That was it. And there were like 3 returning students I took over in May. So for the fall semester, there was like 3 returning students. So helping guide a team of students who basically brought it back from the dead and eventually put out our first print issue in 4 years, and seeing, the torch develop its identity and presence on campus again was tremendously rewarding. You know what I mean? So that was a big moment, getting that first print issue out in the spring of 24.
How do you support students when they face criticism or backlash from controversial stories, or have you ever had any students that face backlash?
Yeah, it's happened. It happened this year. And the writer it made it more complicated because it was something that happened with our advice column, and the writer's anonymous. So there was criticism, there's backlash, and no one knows who the writer. I mean, I know, So I try to get students to see that, first of all, the first thing we need to do is hear people out and not get defensive, right? And I have that, side of me too, right? I think we all do, you know what I mean? Our brains literally go into fight or flight mode when we're challenged on things we believe or things we've done. And so I think it's human nature sometimes to just be really defensive. And so I try to tell the students, first of all, let's hear people out. Let's put ourselves in their shoes. And then we can think about, first of all, the criticism or the backlash we're getting, are they right? Do they have a point? We can't dismiss the possibility that they're right. And usually it's more of a mixed bag. Maybe they have a point, and maybe at the end of the day we might disagree, or maybe there's things that, because again, the torch was rebirthed somewhat recently, right? So we're all still learning. They're student journalists. So it's my job, first of all, to help them understand sometimes, maybe we did do the wrong thing. Maybe we need to re-examine going forward how we did this or how we could do it differently. But it's my job also maybe to remind people who have criticism that these are student journalists. This is a learning process. And the best way for them to learn is to do. And sometimes that might mean making mistakes. And I think that's fine. But so again, it can be tough to maybe balance that sometimes, right? But I want the students obviously to feel empowered, and I want them to make their own decisions. And if they make mistakes, I want them to know that that's all right. You know what I mean? Because we're learning, and we're going to, maybe get better every time out.
Yeah, either way, people are going to have their opinion on things regardless. But what is your involvement in the editorial process? Like, do you review them? Do you do any part of the publishing?
I do like the last edit on each article, and I try not to change too much. Most advisors don't. Like, and I think people don't know this about student media. Like, most advisors do not review content and don't see it until it's published. And maybe I'll get there. I don't know that I'm comfortable with that yet, but I mean, I trust the students. That's not the issue. So I do an edit, but I try not to really change a lot. You know what I mean? And I try not to veto things. I mean, I really don't veto things. So yeah, I mean, it's just doing that like last edit and making sure there's nothing that like got by everybody else, and if there are things like usually it's questions, so I'll go back to our editor-in-chief and maybe ask a question, but maybe there's something I don't understand why it's this way or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just the red flags.
Yeah.
What is the overall mission or vision you hope to instill in the Torch?
I mean, the mission of the Torch is to, as student media, cover what is going on our campus, to be, we're not a newsletter. You know what I mean? These are journalists, right? So the mission is to, in a fair and accurate way, to cover our campus and, what is important on campus, what's happening on campus, but also what's important to our students and to our campus community, right? To bring those things to the eyes of the campus community, again, in a way that's just, fair and accurate, right? So that's really what it is. It's just about sort of just covering what's going on here, and maybe beyond that, right? There are things that the students can write about and cover that are not, just Bergen-centric things, but that are of interest to Bergen students and our readership, right?
So we want to thank our guest, Professor Berkowitz, for being with us today.
Okay. I would also want to encourage everyone to pick up a copy of The Torch. The new issue came out last week. And just keep in mind when you see this, like, this is the product of the hard work of these students, right? And they are super talented people. I like to think that we have, some of the best and brightest students at Bergen on our staff and our e-board. Our editor-in-chief, Hasna Kachui, has done an amazing job this year. And our entire e-board and staff does a lot of hard work to get this paper out to the campus community. So you'll see stands with the newspaper all over campus. If you're going by, please pick one up and feel free to run any feedback by me or the students.
So our engineer is Rudy Galindo.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the program. I'm Brianna Martinez.
And I'm Megan Alvarez.
And this is Bergen Bulldog Focus.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Bergenfield, are you ready? The Mayor's Wellness 5K is here. Whether you run, walk, or jog, this event is for everyone. Join the community Sunday, May 4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. starting at Bergenfield High School. Enjoy a fun, fast course, cheering crowds, and a great way to stay active. Registration is now open. Sign up to get your official race t-shirt. Visit bergenfieldnj.gov for details. Don't miss out.
Welcome to Bergen Bulldog News with Shelly and
Mia.
And today we'll be discussing the famous space trip.
Katy Perry went up to space and was there for 11 minutes to discuss her music video.
Have you ever listened to Katy Perry?
Yeah, I listened to Katy Perry, and then for my sister's Sweet 16, we went to see her concert, the
really?
Witness tour.
Oh, that's really nice. I used to be obsessed with her when I was little, but then I grew up. She's very when I was smaller, she did music videos of Candyland and stuff like that. I really liked it.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember like my sister would always play like Hot and Cold in the house every day.
Oh yeah, my sister. Well, my dad put me onto the song "California Girls" because I was born in California near 29 Palms, so he thought that was like my song. He would put that all the time.
Yeah, my sister and her friends when they were like in middle school, like she's 4 years older than me, so like when her and her friends would come over, like I used to have to like film them making like music videos, and it was like always Katy Perry.
That's so nice. Would you ever go to space or no? Like a rocket ship?
I don't know, like it just seems like I don't know, like I feel like not a lot of people went up to space yet, so I'd just be like scared of like something happening and like not returning.
Oh yeah, I'd be so scared. I think I would just watch. I would like to watch, but I wouldn't want to be in the spaceship.
Yeah, like I'd be there like when like the rocket goes up, but like I don't think I would want to be like going.
Yeah, I'd be really scared. But they only went for like just a couple minutes, not like a long time. But it's still scary.
Yeah, I see like on social media, everyone's like the TikTok ban was like like was longer than the space.
Oh yeah, they started making fun of how they thought they were gonna be there forever.
Yeah,
but some of them have children, and Katy Perry does have a child, so it'd be better just not to go for so long.
Yeah, especially like being like a parent, you have like so much responsibilities, like can't really be gone.
I was shocked. I didn't know she was going. I thought it was like AI. I thought it was that.
The Breakfast Club cast, they like reunited after like 40 years.
Oh, I watched that movie. That movie is really entertaining. I like that movie.
I've seen it, and like when I was younger, I saw like the Victorious episode that they tried to like mimic.
Yeah, when I saw that, I didn't get it because when I watched Victorious before I watched that movie, and I didn't get it.
Yeah,
but then I watched the movie and I got it.
Yeah, like I knew the song, but I didn't know that like until like I was a lot older that it was from the Breakfast Club movie. And then my mom and my dad were like obsessed with that movie, so when I was older they like showed it to me and my sister.
Oh yeah, my parents never showed me that movie. Well, my mother's not from here, so she didn't know what it was either, but I saw it. I just saw it because my little sister, she's like really into like earlier movies, like 80s 90s. That's all she watches, so I watched it, but it was really nice.
Yeah,
I saw the main actress, the redhead. She's not redhead. She has like really short hair. I saw her in a couple different other movies too.
Yeah, I just know like a lot of like movies are like not even like movies, like if like TV shows, series would always do like an episode like inspired by like the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw some. I just seen I don't know their names, but I know the girl with the short hair. I've seen her in other films, and then the guy with the blonde hair with blue eyes. I've seen, but the other actress, I've never seen them again. I just seen them in that one thing.
Yeah, a lot of like artists would just go into like movies, and then like if they didn't do that well, then I guess like they don't really do a lot more after that.
Oh yeah, I saw them. I see the girl with the short hair. Like she's kind of like the main actress. Well, that's all for Bergen Bulldog News.
I'm Mia.
And I'm Shelly. And we're signing off.
Couldn't follow my New Year's resolution, and now I'm stuck at my desk not sure what to do. Hey Stan, you doing alright? Yeah, just struggling to properly pursue a healthy journey. I really want to eat better. Well, you know, May is Global Employee Health Month, and we're co-workers, so why don't we start a health journey together? It's a celebration of fitness and improving healthiness among employees of all companies, big or small. It promotes how important these things are and challenges employees to keep up with good health habits among each other. Visit www.gehfm.org or nationaltoday.com/Global Employee Health Month to learn more about Global Employee Health Month today.
This is Bergen Bulldog Radio, a weekly news magazine program created and produced by the radio production class here on the Kramis campus of Bergen Community College, right here on Files Channel 26. Hello and welcome to this edition of Bergen Bulldog Focus. I am your host, Rudy Galindo, and today we will be speaking with the chair of the Performing Arts Department, Dr. Andrew Quicken.
Hey, Rudy.
How are you doing
today? Good to be here. I'm good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So what does the Performing Arts Department courses generally cover?
Each program is somewhat independent of each other. So both music and theater have AFA degrees, or Associate of Fine Arts degrees, for students that are going to be going on to transfer to a 4-year school in either music or theater. In music, we have different tracks for that. We have a popular music track. We have a music production track, and we have a classical jazz performance track. Theater has theater tech or general theater. And as well, we also have AAS degrees in both of the disciplines. In music, the AAS degrees are specifically for people in recording technology and music business. And at the same time, we also serve a lot of students that are non-majors. So a lot of our general education music and theater courses are open to anyone. Actually, any of our courses are open to any student that's at Bergen.
Does that include courses such as pop rock and jazz ensemble?
Yeah, so even the pop rock ensemble, jazz ensemble, chorus, chamber ensemble are open to any student at the college. Even the applied music, the one-to-one lessons are open to any student.
Is there anything in our college there to help people who suddenly want to decide to become a music major or just learn an instrument or learn the arts of any sort of way, any way to help ease them in on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the great things about a community college is it's open. It's a very welcoming environment for any student, no matter what their musical background or theater background is. So there's lots of opportunities to participate in the clubs. You know, the music club and theater club are very active, and also the programs, the courses. So people can become music majors or theater majors without any of the roadblocks that they might encounter, say, at a 4-year college or university. So one of the things we do is prepare students for their future, whether it's thinking about different careers in the arts or thinking about transferring to a college university that has music or theater, or students that just always wanted to play guitar or piano or learn music technology, as you're aware of. They can just take a recording course. So, it's community colleges are one of the few places in higher education where students really have a lot of opportunities to explore if their passions, if they're already passionate about music or theater or dance, but also just to see, oh, is this something I might be interested in? Let me try. And not just in music, they might want to take a painting class. So it's a great place for students who just, aren't sure what they want to do and not sure what career path they may take or what academic path they may take. So, we're, I think, one of the few educational institutions that really caters to the student and really focuses on where the students are coming from, and what they need to move forward in their lives.
Usually when it comes to the performing arts, there are doubts about whether it could lead to a good livelihood for students afterwards. What are some ways the colleges help students find a career in this sort of majors?
Yeah, I think a lot of people start off, like myself, as thinking that performance is the only possible career, and most people come into this field because they're passionate about playing music or writing songs or being an actor and then I think one thing we do is in the performing arts is show students that there are so many other possible career paths that might be more not as competitive. I mean, being a performer, whether an actor or a musician, is one of the maybe as hard as wanting to play in the NBA or the NFL, to make a career of it. But there's lots of other opportunities, as in music production, as a live sound person or someone who learns enough about music production to work on sound for films or video games or TV. Same thing with, or teaching is another big, so many opportunities behind the scenes, so you think of for every one artist, maybe there's 50 or 100 jobs that are behind the scenes. So I think that's one thing we try to focus on, and we don't, at the same time, we don't want to diminish or dampen anybody's passion for playing. I mean, those of us that have other things, teaching or, working in the business, or even people that have other jobs, still, you can continue your artistic pursuits. It's just it might not be enough to live the lifestyle that you'd like to attain.
Why did you decide to come into music education?
Yeah, I was kind of by accident. My wife is a community college teacher, and she teaches computer animation and interactive media. And I was always working other jobs to kind of subsidize my creative pursuits, right? And but then, we hit some difficult financial times, and I have a master's degree. I had a master's degree at the time in ethnomusicology, which is kind of a very esoteric field, So I never really, I loved the time I spent there learning about world music and studying with, master musicians, but that didn't really lead to a financial career. So I worked in technology for many years. And then when the internet bubble burst, I was trying to do freelance, and we had moved from California to New York. So it was a difficult time financially. And she said, you have a master's degree. Why don't you teach? And actually, I taught web programming at Westchester Community College. And then I'd met the person from the music department who found out that I had this master's degree in ethnomusicology. And then when there was an opening to teach music there, I started teaching music. And I never thought that, I had studied with a very famous guitar teacher later on in life, but early on, I really didn't have much of a formal education. So I really didn't think that I had it in me to be a teacher, but my wife she believed that I did. And when I started teaching, I loved it. Even, and then even more when I was teaching music, because that's been my lifelong passion. And then from there, I always loved working in community colleges for the reasons that we spoke about. And when I started here in 2002, I loved it. And I just loved being here and helping to work on the curriculum. And as you know, one of my, coming from a rock and folk background, unlike a lot of traditional music educators that were coming from more classical or jazz genres, I really wanted to bring popular music and world music into the curriculum. And our program was the perfect place to do that. So, I created the pop rock ensemble a couple years after I started. And I created the first songwriting class that we had that's still running and still popular. So, I believe that education in general, and maybe music education, really should keep up with the times, And so, and I believe in, that I've always loved all kinds of music. And I've always loved playing all different styles of music, which, sometimes is not what the music industry is looking for. They kind of want to pigeonhole you into, this is the genre that this group does, or, for marketing purposes. So I love the fact that, and now I've been active in a lot of organizations that really bring music to underserved communities. I've worked with Save the Music, and Music Will, and a lot of educators around the world that are really trying to bring popular music, world music, and really make music relevant to students. 'Cause it's impossible to find somebody that doesn't listen to music, right? Particularly young people, right? So to not pay attention to what young people are into is, I think, a mistake for educators. So, we try to incorporate that into what we do. Hopefully, where education and music education are hitting some rough times now, and hopefully we'll get through it. And, it's kind of our job to teach people how valuable music is. And it's really a life-saving activity for people of any age.
I want to thank our guests again, Dr. Andrew Cricken, for being with us today.
Thanks so much, Rudy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for asking me to be part of this.
Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'm Rudy Galindo, and this has been the Bergen Bulldog Focus.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Bergen Bulldog Radio is engineered and edited by Megan Alvarez. Bulldog Focus and Did You Know segments by Brianna Martinez, Megan Alvarez, Alyssa Macias, Mia Tucker, and Kenneth Eric. Newscasters were Elliot Restrepo and Rudy Galindo. Bulldog Buzz and Bites written and produced by Mia Tucker and Shirley Caprio. Our Bulldog mascot is Jameson. If you missed any portion, this program will repeat at various times here on Files Channel 26 through Sunday, April 27th. The next and final edition of the Spring Semester will air beginning Thursday, May 1st. The executive producer of Bergen Bulldog Radio is Professor Robert Williams. I'm your host, Rudy Galindo. Thanks for joining us on Bergen Bulldog Radio.